Greetings from Shanti Shakti in Moscow. Okay. Reading from Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Volume 2, Chapter 2, Text 46. Wait 1 second. I took some notes. I have to get some notes. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tat saṅkalpya japaṁ kurvann. Acirād ūrdhvam utthitaḥ. Vyoma-yānena tam prāpto. Lokaṁ tatra vyalokayam. I made this my intention and chanted my mantra, and soon a celestial airplane picked me up, and I found myself transported to Maharloka. Purport: chanting his japa with the conscious desire, I want to see the Lord of Sacrifice on Maharloka, soon brought Gopkumar to Rishi Bhrigu's abode on the Mahar planet, where the sages had returned after finishing their short excursion. vyoma-yānena kananjana shalakaya taksurunmulatamyena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, we only meet once a week or twice a week. And as I said, we can forget the context. And in understanding anything, context is essential. So the way I'm going to bring the context today is I'm just going to read 3 verses. Go back, I just picked out 3 verses, and then I'm going to explain those verses in context, which will bring us up to today. So, okay. What great fortune, dear son of a cowherd, that you have come here. Enough with this bowing on the ground. Don't be afraid to come close to me. Okay, that's the first verse. Just keep that in mind. Second verse. I was tormented by the pain of separation from Vraja, my face drying up. When the Lord of the universe noticed this, he consoled me again and again with his fascinating nectarian words and touch of his lotus hands. And text 34. Still, when Vishnu would become again visible, his unique mercy in many forms would fill my heart with thoughts of him and dissolve all my mental pain. Even the pain I might feel later when I can no longer see him. So, remember, this is in Sanatana Goswami's objective in writing the book. He wants to present, and I said this from the very beginning, Parama Dasha Antim, the top end stage. Dasha means stage. And he wants to give this to the world. And somehow or other, he channels this incredible story of in two stories that present the same point. The first story is Narada looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy, and it leads him to Braj. And then the second story, because after Uttara hears this is being told by Maharaj Bhāgavatāmṛta. I have an audience, don't worry. I'll just keep you in context. Don't worry, don't feel. It's Sanatana Goswami, he has this mission to give the topmost recipient of Krishna's, to present what Lord Chaitanya gave, which is the highest bhakti, Svabhakti, Krishna's own, Lord Chaitanya's bhakti, which is Krishna's own devotion for himself at its height. And he can't really figure out, how do you do this? It's such it's so indescribable. So he figures how to do this. He says even Krishna himself can't even understand the force of Radha's love. And he wants to give this to the world. What he experienced as Lord Chaitanya, he wants to give this to the world. So he prays deeply, because when you want to achieve something beyond your capacity, it can only be achieved by mercy. And mercy, it can only be attracted by your humility, by your need. And that's expressed in prayer. And he comes up with this incredible story. I'll just make it simple, but it winds up this story. Maharaj Bhāgavatāmṛta's finished his life, and his mother comes, and she's a great devotee, and she wants this message. So Maharaj Bhāgavatāmṛta figures, I have to give her this, but I don't have the same amount of time. It's just been 7 days. So he takes the same message, and this is called realization. Realization means that you understand something so deeply, you can reform it for the frame of reference of your audience. And it's kind of the same thing in a different form. And that's, you're a communicator, this is what you have to do. You have to take a message, it may be a spiritual message, and you know the audience, and you reshape it according to the audience frame of reference. So he comes up, Maharaj Bhāgavatāmṛta comes up with this story, which basically is a summary of the Bhagavatam, and that what the Bhagavatam is giving us the end top thing of that love. That's the goal of the Bhagavatam, but he has to do it in another way, focusing on making it very accessible to people. So anyway, Maharaj Bhāgavatāmṛta is telling this story to his mother, and it's about Narada searching for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. And it's an incredible story. He goes from one person to another, and maybe in St. Petersburg, because I'm going to have 2 programs in the apartment where I'm staying, I may give that. It's a seminar I give called the Mission of Sri Chaitanya and the genius of Sanatana Goswami in presenting it. I did that the last time we was there a little bit. So it winds up in a brilliant way that it points to Braj. But then the mother says, I know I know they're the topmost, but I have to know about the place. Because the place is very essential to understand. The place expresses the consciousness of the people there. So you want to present that topmost stage. You also have to explain the place where it manifests. So that comes to another story, and it's a very complicated. It winds up with this Gop Kumar, this cowherd boy who meets his guru, gets this mantra, and then the guru disappears in ecstasy and begins to look to find the Lord of the place of this mantra, the Lord of this mantra. So he's looking, and he goes from one place to another. And in each place, and this is what the verses explain today, is he's very satisfied, because first, I forgot the first place, but he goes to Puri, he sees Jagannath, my Lord, and then he goes to the heavenly planets, and there's so many places he goes. And in each place, it has this thing that's hard to figure out, because he becomes completely satisfied because he's seeing his Lord, but then he's not satisfied. Then he's still hankering for Braj. And this is going to explain how Braj is the highest place, but he's not. So I tried to figure out, how is this that in each place he's tormented in separation from Braj. He's just tormented. And then he sees the form of God in that place and just becomes, all his mental pain's gone. He kind of feels, and even we had one verse when he comes to the heavenly planets, Indra says, why are you bowing down to me? Right? So it seems that that's kind of, his relationship with God is very intimate. Even Indra says it, why are you bowing down to me? But still, in each place, he's not satisfied. So I thought of an analogy to explain this. And the analogy, and I think we'll all be on this, the analogy I gave to explain this is, let's say your father is a high court judge, and you go into the court to see your father. You're missing your father. You're crying outside, I want my father. Where's my father? I want my father. And then they take you into the court and you see your father, right? And your father may look at you and give you a gesture and affection, and then you'll feel, oh, I'm completely satisfied. But because of the place the father is in and the relationships that he must respond to in that place, as the court, you can never be satisfied there. So then again, your father's there, but you'll say, well, I'm hankering for home, where my father picks me up, where he plays with me intimately, and then you may cry, and then your father may pick you up again. And then when your father may pick you up again, then you may be satisfied. But that's not the place where that person can manifest his relationship with you. So you'll never be satisfied. So this is what happens here. He has this mantra, and it's the Gopal mantra. It's described that it's a 10-syllable mantra. I think the mantra is Gopi Jana Vallabha Swaha. It's a Gopal mantra. It's leading to Braj. And it's very, very powerful. It can fulfill all your desires. And then, so that's his, and the other factor that's here, and I think it's really an important factor that goes through all of this, is, and I've mentioned this many times, is that there is this transcendental system where God knows our potential. He knows our level that we're at, and he's trying to bring us to this destination. And we'll never be satisfied until we get to that destination. Even if it's bhakti, it'll be satisfactory, but not ultimately satisfactory, but ultimately not satisfactory. And then I gave a personal example to show this, that when I'm in New Jersey, and Tota, he takes me to this 20-acre property, a beautiful South Indian temple with so many different forms of God. And I'm kind of like Gop Kumar. I'm like missing my Lord. And then I come in the temple and I'm so satisfied. There's Venkateshwara Krishna, there's Guru Vaya Krishna, but it's nice then. But after a while, I just want Brajendanandana Krishna. I want Vrindavan. That's my heart. So he's there, but not manifest. And this is the story of Krishna going to Kurukshetra, Radharani going to Kurukshetra. Krishna is there in Kurukshetra. So there's some relief, but it's not fully, because Rajavesh, she's dressed as a king and there's subjects, and he can't manifest as her lover. And we know that in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, how Krishna is Krishna is defined as Akila Rasamrita Murti, the full embodiment of all love. And he can't be that outside of Braj, outside of the environment, outside of the place where the other things and other relationships support that manifestation of the intimate side. And this is our philosophy. Our philosophy is that Krishna, which means Vrindavan, the environment that facilitates God opening his heart fully, is the highest revelation of God. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. And that's what Sanatana Goswami is trying to communicate through this story. So all these verses are, I'm satisfied, I'm not satisfied, and it's his heart, but it's also God moving. My next Monday morning greetings, okay, you're going to get a preview of my next Monday morning greetings. Here it is. From drama to meaning. It's time to begin writing my next Monday morning greetings. I have nothing to write. Realizations are a gift. To gain one, I can chant, study, and look at the world through the eyes of Shastra, but ultimately only God can give one a worthy inspiration. I was just about resigned to share a reprinted article this week when a realization came. I don't like to share reprinted articles, but if I have to, I have to. I've been at the immigration holding room in a foreign country while the immigration officials are checking me out. I guess not many United States citizens come here, and the relations with their country have suddenly taken a turn for the worse. I haven't heard from the officials since they sat me here. That was 2 hours ago. I'm waiting for my fate, and waiting is the greatest surrender. I'm not fearful, however, of what will happen, although I was looking forward to the next 3 weeks. Many good programs have been set up and many good people to see, but not a blade of grass moves without God's will. I recalled one of my favorite quotes that came from Epictetus, the great Greek Stoic. It was sent to me by a friend when I became sick during COVID with a strange non-COVID related sickness that went on for months. It became my mantra. Happiness and distress, sickness and health, praise and slander, they all come from God. Why should one care? I try not to care. I'm resigned to whatever Krishna wants, but don't keep me waiting. But even that, if it's your will, I know it is best. I feel at peace sitting here. My theme for this week's Monday morning greetings, from drama to meaning. I was toying with the theme anyway. A lot of bad news fell into my lap this week. I heard too many personal stories of horrible illness and cruel personal betrayal, and the list goes on. Life just seems so unfair, and it seems so increasingly so. I don't want to tell those suffering that it's just Krishna's mercy, for such counsel often lacks or appears to lack empathy. People above all need support. Still, ultimately, traditions of wisdom advocate a change of vision, for no matter how we cut it, this temporary material world is full of suffering. I call that change of vision from drama to meaning. I'm just tired of the drama, for it never ends, whether it's relationships, health, slander, crisis of funds, and so on. And it is meant to be that way. Does this mean we stop trying to improve the quality of our lives? No. We have duties to stabilize our life and the lives of our loved ones. But we never lose sight of the fact that ultimate fulfillment is an internal process. It's developing a lens of wisdom that does not require changing the world, but rather our opinion of it. While talking about this subject, a friend sent me a relevant talk by Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, which discusses what that change of opinion is. All problems are solved when we transcend our illusory perception of the world in which we see and do everything in terms of our local or selfish interests and rise to an understanding of life's real meaning. Everything moves for the satisfaction of God, which is in everyone's interest. The whole talk is pertinent to this discussion. I will share just an excerpt. The absolute current goes towards the satisfaction of Krishna, but this reading of the environment is not possible for the superficial soul. The soul cannot read, cannot conceive of the real meaning of everything. The soul sees some meaning, but it is a different reading, a superficial reading of things. And it is the reading that is Maya. We read in our own way. We read an earthquake or a storm or anything else from our local interest. This is Maya, and it is on this basis that we do so many things, end quote. It took me 1 hour waiting on the immigration line just to get to the immigration booth. After going through the routine check, they told me to just sit outside. Where? The official just waved his hand and in broken English indicated I shall just go and wait. I waited outside the immigration booth without my passport for an hour. They came for me and a few others with our passports in hand and moved us to the immigration office waiting area. They then disappeared into the offices with our passports, and we waited there for some time. They took us to another place. We stood there for some time until they finally took us to another immigration booth. There were about 20 of us. Another wait, more drama. My patience was drawing thin, but I knew that God protects his devotee. Whatever he does is best. Finally, our passports were stamped and we left, and that was the gift of realization today. Our only solace is from drama to meaning. So that was my... Anyway, back to the... this is an after lunch class. It's different than when you do it in the morning. So what happens here with the story is Gopkumar is not fully satisfied because he's with God, but not, because a person is, I've explained this many times, a person is more than just his form. A person is his love. And that only manifests by the will of a person to those with whom he has that relationship. So you can never fully see a person by organic means. It can only be by relationship. So, okay, so here, he was in Puri, that was the last chapter, and in Puri, he was satisfied to see Jagannath, but still it's a reverential mood, and even Jagannath told him, go follow your heart, go to Braj. And then he went to Vrindavan, but he wasn't yet quite ready to approach it in the other way, and he didn't see God, so he went to find Puri. And then when he went to go see Puri, he saw these ritualistic Brahmins, and they were describing the heavenly planets, and they were describing Vamanadev is there. And then he has this relationship with Vamanadev, that Vamanadev even says, why are you paying obeisance to me? I'm basically saying I'm your friend, but he couldn't manifest it fully. Anyway, he stayed there for many, many years. He wound up becoming Indra, and then he's kind of enjoying it in one sense, and he has this relationship with Vamana and Upendra called then. And then these sages come from a higher planet. And he sees that everyone there, even Upendra, is paying who are these people? They're so much higher. And it's described their happiness is even millions of times higher than even the heavenly planets. So he couldn't understand why everyone, even all the great sages, all the great demigods were paying obeisances, and then somehow or other, he developed this intention, I should go there, because maybe this is a higher manifestation. Maybe this is where I can find the Lord of my mantra in a fully satisfying way. So that's where we're up to today. And he made his saṅkalpya. When you chant, you should always have a saṅkalpya. There should be some consciousness. The heart should be in the mantra. I always say that the mantra itself doesn't please Krishna. It's the mantra, but it's the heart of the mantra. And I give that example in Loy Bazaar when there's one shopkeeper, he has a high voice. And he says, Haribo Prabhu. And you don't hear like the holy name, you hear someone asking for your money. So your consciousness carries the mantra. So there has to be some intention, some saṅkalpya. And when that saṅkalpya japaṁ, when the conscious intention is there with the mantra has so much power. The mantra has so much power. And we quoted that verse from the Bhagavatam many times. Akarma, sarva, karmo, ba, moksha kama, udarade, tivreni bhakti yogena. That it doesn't matter what your desire is. If it's intensified, your practice is intensified, the mantra will carry your desire. So he finds himself transported to Maharloka. And just see how this is also in this particular story of Gop Kumar, how it's also answering Uttara's inquiry. Okay, those are the people, but what is the place? And to distinguish this, the objective is Vrindavan, the objective is the Brijbasis, the objective is Vrindavan, but to understand that this is, which was asked at the beginning, Parama Dasha Antim, the topmost stage, you have to understand the other stages, because topmost means comparative. So just like in the first book, Narada kept on looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy, and the story is, the person would tell him to go to someone higher. So you actually see, this is the topmost. And you understand where not to go. So the same thing's happening with the places. So Gop Kumar is going from place to place. And this is also, the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam shows the different destinations of the living entity, and it points to Braj. So we'll go verse by verse. Trilokyat sukham nasti vaibhavam bhajanam tata nirdosham tatta tatsarvam astyanir yacham astuvat. Such happiness, opulence, and worship of the Lord as found nowhere in the three worlds. It's all there perfectly, indescribable in words. So there are things that are indescribable because you don't have a preliminary frame of reference or experience of it. And the classic example would be, if I give this example, if you can't explain to a 5-year-old girl like romance, she doesn't have the maturity, that experience, the potential, the capability of it. So certain things are very, very difficult to explain. So this realm, which the happiness is 1,000,000 times better than even Swagaloka, and so it says it's indescribable in words, but he'll try to give you some kind of frame of reference to appreciate it. The residents of Maharloka never quarrel among themselves, never suffer mundane miseries, and never fear the annihilation at the nightfall of Brahma. On Maharloka, rivalry and quarrel are non-existent because everyone worships the Supreme Lord without selfish motives, and therefore material assets are always on hand without deficiency or surplus. The conditions of such a subtle, exclusive environment can hardly be described in words. They can only be understood by direct experience. Nonetheless, Srila Sanatana Goswami kindly gives us a rare glimpse into a world we otherwise know little about. Vyoma-yāneshu maham-mekeshutai Maharshibir Bhakti Parai Sahasrasa Magagni Madhye Prabhu utthitaḥ Maheshvara Kridati Yajna-bhāgavatāmṛta. While the great sages endowed with pure devotion offered thousands of grand sacrifices, I saw the Lord of Sacrifice, the Supreme Controller, stand up brilliantly amidst the fires of oblation and delight in his pastimes as the enjoyer of sacrificial offerings. The form of Lord Vishnu appearing from the sacrificial fires made an especially vivid impression on Gopkumar's mind, so he briefly describes that form in this and the following 2 verses. Bhrigu and his brothers are Nishkam Vaishnavas, who have no other master than Lord Vishnu. Therefore, the Lord reciprocated their worship by appearing in person on the sacrificial altar. He was spuran, glowing even more brilliantly than the ritual fires. So bhakti is described as sadulabha. Bhava bhakti is described as sadulabha because when you have devotion, it means that someone is giving you their heart. And if you give someone their heart, they can do one of 2 things better than anybody else. They can serve you, or they can exploit you. So the full revelation of God and the full revelation of God's heart comes when he sees someone's devotion, which is expressed in their service. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipur. To those who worship me with faith and devotion, I give them the knowledge by which they can come to me. So these are Nishkam Vaishnavas. They have no other desire, and therefore Krishna appears. He manifests to them, and he's trying to explain Sanatana. It's a brilliant thing, and these are great yogis, and therefore they're doing these fire yogas in this different place, and the Lord appears in every one in ways which they describe is more beautiful than anything you can imagine. Sayagyamurti Ravi Koti Teja Jagan Manohari Mahapratika Vasarya Hastan Charan Adanano Varam Priyam Yachati Yajakebhya. That Lord, sacrifice personified, radiant as millions of suns, his mighty form enchanting to the world, reached out his hands, accepted the chara offering, and granted the sacrificers pleasing benedictions. This verse paints an even more vivid picture of the Lord of Sacrifice. He is called the Lord of Sacrifice because it is he who through sacrifice receives worship. And the Vedic sacrifice or yajnas, including their physical ingredients and mantras and rules for their performance, emanate from him. Holding in his hands the implements of sacrifice, including the shruk and shrava ladles, he appears as sacrifice personified. As we find in Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta in the description of Yajna-varaha, the boar incarnation of the Lord, the various parts of the Lord's divine body symbolize all the aspects of yajna. And then they give verses. O Lord, your form is to be worshipped by performance of sacrifice, but souls who are simply miscreants are unable to see that form. All the Vedic hymns, Gayatri and others, are in the touch of your skin. In your bodily hairs is the kusha grass, in your eyes is the clarified butter, and in your legs are the 4 kinds of fruit of acts. O Lord, in your tongue is the shruk, in your nostrils the shrava, and your abdomen the plate for eating. In the holes of your ears is the cup called chamasa. In your mouth is the Brahma's plate. In your throat are the soma vessels, and in whatever you chew is the oblation to the fire. When Lord Vishnu appears on Maharloka as Yogeshwara, all parts of his body are universally attractive. His head, mouth, neck, chest, arms, legs, and so on. As Gopkumar watched, the Lord playfully accepted the offerings of charu, a standard oblation of rice, barley, dal, and butter, mixed and boiled in milk. Not even Lord Vamana on Swagaloka was this attractive. So the 6 principles of love, which is exchanged among any society, it's ultimately manifest in perfection with God. So, Dadati Pritagrinati. You give gifts and you accept gifts. Giving gifts is an act of love, but accepting gifts is also an act of love. So God is accepting the devotion of the devotees. In so many ways he's manifesting. With words drenched in compassion. So there's 3 symptoms of prema, when you or desires. When you really have strong desires of love, there's 3 things you want. You want to be with the person, you want to serve the person, and you want an acknowledgement of the relationship with that person. So with words drenched in compassion, he gave me his own hand, the Mahaprasad of his remnants. Awestruck by the sight of him, out of sheer joy, I felt compelled to bow down. So, words, doyadra, vacha. Vacha means word. Doyadra, adra means drenched. His words drenched with compassion, feeling his love in that relationship. And then awestruck by seeing him. This is one of the there's indirect rasas. Indirect rasas is there's experiences that are so powerful they appear to be relationships in themselves. For example, acirād, joking. When you have joking with a friend, it appears like it's its own rasa, but it's not. It's friendship expressed indirectly through humor. You're actually experiencing friendship, but it's so powerful. And Jiva Goswami gives the example. He said, if you're seeing a concert in the distance, you'll say that the music is coming from the stage. The music is not coming from the stage, but because the stage is so closely associated, it appears that way. So, so here, this is awestruck. This is a wonder. It's almost like a relationship in itself, but really it's an expression of either servitorship or shantaras, appreciating God's eminence. But it's such an power. So and these are feelings that are just increasing his rasa. Darshana ujimbita, he's inspired by the sight of the Supreme Lord, who out of his, I read oneself that God's form is a manifestation of his beauty, because he loves, he wants to please. So that sight of God offering his love, by offering all the aspects of sacrifice. It's just a manifestation of love. And then he sees it. It's not only a manifestation of love, but it's so beautiful. So he by that sight of him, he's inspired with awe and harshat, out of joy. It's out of sheer joy. And then what happens out of that joy? Namakara, he bows down. And the bowing down is not just a physical act, it's an emotional act. It's an emotional act in the mood of servitorship, that reverence. So he's just becoming overwhelmed with reverence. The sight is awestruck, then there's this compassion of words, and then he has to bow down, and then there's the reciprocation with his own hand, Mahapasad Utishta, the remnants. It's given by him, Hastena, with his own hand. So this is rasa. This is perfect love in this relationship. So he's having this reverential experience, and it's kind of overwhelming him. Purport, seeing the Lord of Sacrifice made Gop Kumar more eager than ever to discover how he can serve the Lord in some personal way. In response to this enthusiasm, Lord Yogeshwar encouraged him even more by saying such things as, please, Gop Kumar, please come here and accept my hospitality. So that's why we read the Bhagavatam. That's why we read books like this, because our position is of servant, but we're attached to being the center, to control and enjoy. But when you're attracted to something, it's very beautiful. You put that in the center, and then you become attracted to wanting to serve it, which is the position of love, because we're consciousness which reaches our fruition in service. And that's the real satisfaction, because that's the nature of the soul. Prabhupada said, Dharma means essence. So what is our essence? It's the quality which cannot be taken away. And what's that quality? It's to serve. It's like a fish in water. We become satisfied when we're serving. So he just feels like serving, and he expresses and he bows down. By that abundant mercy, I attained an exceptional bliss I had never known before, and all my desires were fulfilled. Apurva. Apurva means never before. And one of the symptoms of rasa is that each time in relationship with the object of love, in a spiritual sense, it's apurva, never before. It's not like I've ever seen it. It's always increasing. So he says, apurvam labdham anandam. Never before obtained this anandam. What kind of anandam? Paramam anandam, the supreme bliss I've never known before. And it's karuna, ati means unlimited, atishat, excess, by this unlimited mercy, this unlimited mercy of this bliss, all my desires were fulfilled. Purport, on earth and in heaven, Gokhamor had felt bliss and devotional service, but nothing like what he's been relishing at Maharloka. Now, as never before, he was satisfying his deepest desires to see the Lord of the universe and share personal exchanges with him. I wandered here and there in the company of the great compassionate sages, and in every dwelling I saw the Lord of the universe present in the same way. So it's not just one experience, but he's going to these different places of these great sages and hermitages. And this is not the parama dasha antim. This is not the end. But how great is it? But it's still not the end. And thinking myself in every respect fully successful, I happily took up residence in Maharloka. Once the great sages spoke to me as follows. I have a lot to do today, so we're going to end soon. But what happens here now, after lunch, it's hard to have the same consciousness. Now I feel I'm getting into this. But what happens is they they say to him, they tell him now, oh son of a cowherd, we want to give you Brahmin initiation. We want to give you the Brahmanical status. Please accept it as once. And become one of the exalted sages. And you may too do this worship. For so long, this has been the desire of your heart. You may too do this worship. Please accept this. And then Gop Kumar, hearing this, he thought, I'd rather stay as a Vaishya, because then I can keep on worshiping those Brahmins and the Supreme Lord. I can worship him. I'd rather stay in that position. And one thing you'll see about Gop Kumar that comes out through this whole thing, he's very simple. And that's really where his heart is, in that simple worship, in that simple being. So even though he's offered this now, it's not cognizant with his heart. It's not commensurate with his heart. Because ultimately that's his goal. So he's meeting his Lord. This is Krishna, but it's not the full manifestation of Krishna, because it's reverential. And I made this phrase that Krishna is God with his guard down, where he's fully. Position covers personality. So it's never the full manifestation. Although it's so overwhelming, it's so beautiful, but God, it's not his full destination. For these Brahmins, I thought performing sacrifice is the only interest in the life. And if I would become one of them, I'd become lax in my chanting. My divine guru taught me this worship, and I've seen its good results. He can't give up his mantra. Therefore, showing respect, I decline it, but I stayed in Maharloka, and I enjoying the exalted pleasures that automatically appear in this world. On Maharloka, there were no faults, no other sorrow, no apprehensiveness. There was nothing but festivals of sacrifice for the pleasure of the Lord of sacrifice. But at the end of each sacrifice, unhappiness would arise when the Lord disappeared. And when the Lord appeared again, there would be happiness. Anyway, he stays there and like that. Okay, Jumanajai, are you still there?
Yes, Raj. Hare Krishna. Thank you for class. There's so many things. I can't wait to read the Monday morning greetings, because I feel like my life really needs that right now, from drama to meaning. But I was really just appreciating Gaurakumar. He doesn't give up. He keeps finding himself in these places, and that's not it. That's not it. And his, like you said, his simple faith keeps driving him. I'm not going to do this because it might interrupt in my own practices. And it's just really so beautiful that he doesn't give up. He keeps going. He wants the real thing. He doesn't want to be king.
Not only he keeps on going, but God
yes,
makes arrangements for him to keep on going.
So beautiful.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm going to go now for today, but I'm just going to look at all the people that are there, so I know everybody that's there. Okay. Okay, Samantha, Hare Krishna, nice to see you there. Bhakti Devi. Jai Shri Radhe, we'll see you here in Moscow soon. Okay? Anybody else want to turn their camera on? I can see them. Lal Govinda and Braja, Timothy, Radhika, Henry. So nice to see you, Henry. Great. Yavat Sundari, I sent you that note. Did you get it? And I wrote your daughter, she should get a huge screen and set it up there with the highest technology.
Yeah, thank you very much, Maharaj. That's very kind of you.
It's not easy, I know. What can I say? Okay. All right. I will have to go now, so. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bheva Chapati.